Euphoria, when we talked about the premiere, there was a lot that we're interested in. Obviously, they kind of were setting up that this was going to be a big season for Fez, it seemed, and his
Hmm.
character arc.
Right.
Um,
Got
that
the
that
got
dro-
the cold open for Fez, kind of acknowledging that he's a bigger part of the
Mhm.
series than he had been in season one.
And I think some of the questions I had about Euphoria, is this going to continue to be a show that's all the style over substance type of deal? Um, I I I left this season with that question being kind of, the answer to that question being kind of for me, because I do think that Euphoria at times will make choices that are, for shock value or for um, just because it looks cool, and that's kind of like the Sam Levinson
Mm.
thing at this point. That's kind of just what he is. But I do think some of the storylines brought to a point with Lexi's play at the end
Yeah,
added a little bit more substance to the season than I had originally expected, and it really left me very satisfied. How did you feel about season two?
I agree. I was very satisfied with season two, and I think the play, our life, you know, Lexi's play, that is an acknowledgement from Sam Levinson, who writes everything for the series. That's an acknowledgement from Sam that he is self aware. He understands what people say about the show. And it's not the first time he's done this. He's kind of broken the fourth wall in a certain sense with literally calling out his critics via John David Washington's dialogue in Malcolm and Marie earlier last year. He's done this before, but I think this is a much more effective use of this kind of idea to kind of present everything that the show is about and everything people think about the show in like this kind of honest, like in your face way with Lexi's play. And I think it's just kind of like a really ballsy thing to do in your series. And, throughout season two, we stopped getting the traditional cold open about a specific character. We got one about Fez, we got one about Cal. Those are both really great. Then we just stopped getting them at all, as if we kind of didn't need to get them for anyone else, basically. The show got a lot more formless by the end of season two, and that really impressed me. I think the play is kind of your central
Yeah.
organizing thing to kind of bring the show to this point. And you acknowledged Fez kind of like setting up this to be a bigger Fez season. But I was really impressed with Dominic Fike on this show. I actually think Dominic Fike's performance on this is perhaps better than his debut album from 2020, which left me disappointed. I thought he was awesome as Elliot. I was really uh, impressed with his character and just his acting.
Yeah.
And there was some criticism on Twitter for the fact that his song in the finale was, he did the full song, on the guitar. Meanwhile, Maddie barely gets to beat up Cassie. Like we don't get that, but we get a lot of Elliot's song. I understand that critique, but overall, I was quite impressed with Fight kind of bringing some brand new character to life like that. That was really fun.
Yeah, I agree. And literally, when he played, when he started singing in general, but when we got the full song, I just was like, yeah, this they weren't going to go the season without slipping something in like this. So it is what it is. I agree. I think Fike was great. I think obviously the performances on this are all really high level. You think about someone like Sydney Sweeney, who even from the first episode is just so magnetic and obviously attractive, but the way that her arc as Cassie just kind of going and um, going and
Spiraling.
trying to, yeah, spiraling, thank you, um throughout the season with her relationship with Nate and being caught in this abusive relationship where this guy is saying everything that you want to hear, preying on your insecurities, and literally seeing her physical transformation throughout this season I thought
Mm.
was amazing. I mean, she goes from being like the most beautiful character on the show to like looking like a clown by the end of the season.
Mm.
um I thought the choice in the final episode by Levinson to have her walk on stage as the character playing her in the play was about to do some like masturbation scene on a carousel horse, and then someone in the crowd to say, "Show us your boobs," and to basically acknowledge like the grotesque nudity that really isn't like necessary
Right.
for her this season. I thought was at least an acknowledgement of maybe
Yeah.
some of the choices that didn't work this season. And I really just think that final look that she gives when she's talking with uh, got a Maddie about
Yeah.
her really how Nate broke up with her, and she's like, "Yep, this is just the beginning for you." And like that face is just like so perfect, and you're just like, "Wow, this is one of the most talented up and coming actresses I feel like in Hollywood." Really was
Yeah.
impressed with her.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she was also awesome in White Lotus, doing a completely
Right.
different performance. I think if you look under the hood, Sydney Sweeney's not just a pretty face; she's definitely talented. Even the small role in Big Time Adolescence, I think she's proven herself like
Oh
as a
yeah.
performer by now. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, after she gets exposed for like being with Nate and kind of betraying Maddie, I love that scene where she's having the breakdown at home. She's like, "I'm not the bad guy," and then Lexi just matter of factly, "Well, you're not the good guy either." Such good
Yeah.
shit. I
Um.
wanted more Alexa Demi this season. I just love her as Maddie. I think the line readings she does, the performance is like super fine tuned. It's really good.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, big meme from the bathroom scene early in the season. Bitch, you better be joking.
Hmm.
Just perfect. And I understand why people were like, no, we want to see more of that fallout, of this friendship deteriorating due to
Hmm.
really what Cassie got up to. She obviously has a lot of culpability with how that went.
I
But
really loved all the stuff between Alexa Demi and Minka Kelly this season.
yes,
And Minka Kelly,
what a,
what a
what a
comeback
what another
for
casting.
her.
Bringing Minka Kelly in.
And apparently she wasn't even supposed to really have that many scenes, maybe like one or two, and they just had such good chemistry, and Minka Kelly was just giving such a great performance. They wrote in some more scenes, especially that like scene in the pool with her.
Yeah, totally.
I thought was really great. You mentioned the stuff with Cal and Eric Dane this season, and I thought that cold open and that whole, I think it was episode 4 when they look at Cal's life and just like the secrecy and the abuse and
Mhm.
all of that. And I just thought that was one of the strongest episodes of the season for me. Um, how did that land for you?
Yeah, I thought that was really great. And just in general, everything with Cal and Nate this season, I'm glad that we got the resolution that we did in the finale because I feel like the Nate character now needs to just have other things to do, other things to explore. And like now that Cal's out of the picture, like the purposes of Cal in Euphoria have been served through 2 seasons. So I'm glad that that call was made. But I think everything there is really good. The only thing that I was thinking about a lot more recently was Nate isn't as like overtly villainous and cartoonish almost like he was in season one. Still has a lot of menace to him, which I think
Definitely.
gives credit to Jacob Elordi as like this like kind of big hulking man. He can seem to play it really well. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in season 3 with Nate because everything with Nate this time around was more about like his internalized trauma and his struggle with his own psyche and shit. And now that Cal's gone, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But they did a really good job of building out Cal as an antagonist in his own right. I think really satisfying early on when you watch him get fucking pistol whipped by Ashtray. And but everything there was good. So and I think it sets up interesting possibilities for Nate as well.
I'm extremely confused. You're confused, bro. I'm fucking confused. Another great TikTok sound. All right, so we haven't really talked too much about Zendaya and Rue. Uh, how did you feel about Rue's arc this season?
Yeah, I mean, when Ruth's going through it, she's not like a fun hang at all, dude. Can't
No.
stand her at times.
Oh yeah.
I think that's not saying too much. Zendaya's really great when Rue is completely on one, tearing down her family when she's tweaking, and then later when she has like her mad dash to escape the police throughout town. I mean, that's like really thrilling. And beforehand, when she's with her family, it's really gutting. Like Zendaya is incredible in this performance. Already won an Emmy, setting record as the youngest winner for drama lead actress. But I think there's just times where it's like, man, like Rue, get your shit together. I'd rather
Yeah.
watch like toxic teenagers like Maddie instead. Sometimes I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, we talked about this in other shows that explore addiction, but the ups and downs of addiction are just so gutting in general, and it
Yeah,
really makes the characters super hard to hang when a show explores those ups and downs continuously, which is realistic, but just also really hard. I do feel like I felt like that I saw a lot about episode 5, which certainly there's some awesome TV moments, awesome filmmaking moments in general, and that Zendaya is great. The episode I didn't like that one as much. I actually really liked a lot of the stuff in the episode afterwards, where she's kind of like narrating a lot of the fallout, talking about when Ali comes over to make dinner, and
mm,
her sister, and that conversation her mom has with Ali, and then kind of has with Rue at the end. Like, if I have to choose between one dead daughter or two, I'm gonna choose one. And like, just like super relatable. That she does the thing where she like cuts to talk about Jules and is like, actually, let's not talk about Jules, and just kind of like skips past it. I thought that was great, and actually, I think the, she got a lot of credit for her acting in that episode, but I think the best Zendaya acting of the whole thing is the final episode where
yeah.
her and Lexi are having the conversation on the floor. It's like by far the most emotional, and just like blown away by Zendaya every time she can reach into her bag and pull this out. I'm just like, man, this might be the next like Meryl Streep, dude. Like,
I mean,
insane.
even when she's listening to Elliot's song, it's just her face, and she's so emotive.
Uh-huh.
Like that just speaks to how talented she is. She's like,
Yeah,
watch her act without saying anything or moving. She's literally just standing there, and it's so expressive. You
yeah,
know, like it's almost like effortless for like. I think like when we're watching the play and Rue's sitting in the seat watching it, and she's like really like reacting to things that happen and stuff. I feel like that shit's so easy for Zendaya just to be like super expressive.
yeah.
Um,
And
but
and to
it
do
goes
it
so
in
far.
Yeah, and to do it in a way that's not only like moving but also funny. Like the look that when she makes eye contact, or when she sees Cassie about to enter the
Mm,
auditorium and have her meltdown, the face she makes is just like laugh out loud hilarious. Just like, ooh, like, this is not going to be good. Um, Also, just really want to give Maude Apatow a lot of credit. I feel like
yeah,
the build out of Lexi as a character this season, the the use of her as a way to acknowledge Rue's trauma and to like
yeah,
bring that friendship back together, as obviously it's setting up, I think, a Lexi kind of arc with Rue, hopefully in a supportive way for her. And I think really recentering the show, and like what the show is about, and how instead of it being about the stylistic choices of how you portray these kids partying and using substances to like deal with their trauma, kind of like exploring it more through like the friendships and how they get
mm,
each other through the trauma together rather than how they try to escape it. I thought was just a really nice way to like end the season and set us up for what seems like it's going to be a really great third season. I'm totally in on Euphoria from here on out.
oh yeah, totally. In the process, bringing more people in, spending time with people that we didn't spend a lot of time with last time, like Fez and Lexi. In the process, that means there's people that kind of get the short end of the stick here. Obviously, Kat is probably the worst, gets the worst of it. And reportedly, if you check the Daily Beast's report on this, Barbie Ferreira had some on-set altercations with Levinson, stormed off set more than once. So seem to be some disagreements about the character there, which is interesting to hear because most of the cast through 2 seasons have been really uh, high in their praise for Levinson and how he lets them like internalize and work with their characters and stuff. So and even Jules isn't in this season as much as you'd think, and when she is around, it's really just directly her relationship with Rue and
Yeah.
reacting to things with Rue. And I don't know if I would have expected that as much after how successful the Euphoria Jules special was that we got, during COVID. Um, I'm curious to see what happens with with Jules moving forward because it seemed like Rue was not interested in keep resurrecting the relationship at the end of the finale here. Obviously, that can change, but I mean, Hunter Safer has been a big part of the show thus far, so that'd be a choice to like sideline her moving forward, or even have her, go off the show. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think if I don't know how many more seasons this is going to go. I have to imagine Levinson's probably going to want to do other stuff. I don't know if these
I
actors
mean,
want to keep doing this
right?
because
That's
they're
the
all
key.
going upwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if season three ends up being the last season. I think if it's exploring Rue's sobriety, she really can't be in a relationship with Jules, at least not right now. Kind of the same way she said to Dominic Fike, like,
Yeah,
you're
we're
the
not
one
good
that
for each
said,
other.
yeah, we're not good for each other. So it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
and the show has more than doubled its viewers from season 1 to 2 when you count like re-airings and stuff. Like the season 2 premiere has over 17 million viewers. Like the show is huge. And it's a huge streaming show too. 80% of its viewers are watching this on HBO Max. Uh, for context, like Mayor of Easttown and White Lotus was like 50 to 60%. So it's a huge streaming show. It's a huge show in general. You can see that online. I think HBO would love to keep this going, but like you and Zendaya is a producer on this, so she might have some vested interest in keeping it going too. But I mean, it is going to get to the point where they're not exactly going to look like high school kids anymore. I believe Alexa Demi is like almost 30 as it is. She's actually a lot older than she looks already. So on the other hand, it'd be sick to see them go to college. I don't know if they're going to go there, but that'd be cool.
we'll see. We'll be talking about it.